Hi, I'd like to introduce Kathy Davis. She's the founder of our organization back in 1988. Kathy, you shared that you've been visually impaired for as long as you can recall. What are some of the challenges that you faced growing up?
Well, I was such a little thing when we found out I was visually impaired. I was only like 2. So I had these, I was from a little bitty town in Rockmart, Georgia, about 5,000 people. And I really didn't feel very different because I have these incredible parents and this extended family that somehow my parents just learned what to do. And primarily, they were determined that they were going to bring me up as normal as humanly possible. And that is what I did. I learned all about multiplication tables before I started first grade, and I rode a bicycle and a tricycle, and I had lots of friends and wonderful family. So it was a happy years until I was about 7 when we had to make a big change in our lives.
And what was that?
Well, I started first grade in Rockmart, and although I knew all I needed to know, I just couldn't see what the other kids could see. I needed larger print. I needed darker lines on the page. And so I just couldn't keep up like they could.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents knew they needed to make a change. So they did. And we relocated to Tallahassee, Florida, even though we kept our home in Rockmart, Georgia, where my big extended family is.
Oh, okay. And that was a while ago, so a little while ago, right?
Yeah, it was 7 when we relocated.
The resources weren't there in the school systems like they are today, so that's why you had to move.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you do in Tallahassee? You went to school
well,
there?
My parents learned through the Mayo Clinic that they had 2 choices. They could send me to a school for the blind, which was not an option as far as they were concerned. They did not want me living away from them. So my parents found a program in Tallahassee, part of what they called the demonstration school that was connected to Florida State. So my mother and my brother, we relocated to Tallahassee, and I started attending a special class called the Sight Saving class that was part of the K through 12 school I was attending. And there, Ronnie, it was cool because everything was large print and dark lines on the page. And I learned to type when I was in 2nd grade. And I went to the regular classes for music and PE.
But as you were growing up, you eventually went on to college, you told me, but you began losing vision later, even more.
I noticed I was starting to lose vision when I graduated from high school, and I started Florida State University, and I noticed, goodness, what is this deal? It's always too light or too dark. So I was forever taking on sunglasses and taking them off. And I knew things were changing then. For me, my vision was getting worse. I was able to walk all around my, Florida State University campus. I could go to all my classes. I was very active in my sorority house and just enjoyed a wonderful college experience, although my parents were a tremendous help again. They hired readers, and I went to a special room in the library where I connect with my reader from 2 to 5 and from 7 to 10. So I had to put in a lot of study time in addition to being with a reader. I was determined I was going to make good grades, and I did.
Wow, you were really, really dedicated. And you had wonderful parents, it sounds like, but a lot of our students that we work with don't. So you told me that later you started an agency. That's pretty amazing for someone to do.
Well, I had to do something because the time came that I sat down with my ophthalmologist and I said, I'm not going totally blind, am I? And he said, yes, you are. And I was stunned. I was blown away. And I said, what can I do? Where can I turn? And he said, I don't know. So I said to myself, I've got to do something. Nobody should ever have to sit down with their ophthalmologist, know they're going to lose their sight, and that doctor has no idea where to tell a person to turn in that situation.
Right. That's really incredible that you took that information and then you took action. What did you do? How did you do that?
I thought, what can I do? Nobody can hear that answer again. So I thought, well, I will get in touch with the Bureau of Blind Services in Tallahassee and tell them I want to do something to make a difference for blind people. And they were all about it. They're like, Kathy, we need something to help the blind in Daytona, and we're behind you all the way. And so they just wanted me to put together a grant. I did that. We were in a little bitty house off of Osceola Avenue back then. And so I wrote the grant. I got the board started. We got a grant from United Way, and we started to mushroom from there.
Wow, that's
it
that's
was
incredible.
great. It was wonderful.
But these services have grown tremendously since those days, since 1988. Why do you think they're so important, all the services that we have now for blind people?
Well, first of all, let me say that so many blind people did not have the same benefit I did with incredible family members. I learned to be a strong person, and I wanted to give the gift of strength and determination to other blind people. And so the skills of blindness, well, they're just so important. I mean, whether it's Braille, large print, technology where they learn to use a computer, they learn the absolute imperative of travel skills, working with a mobility trainer, computer skills with speech. That changes people's world. And most of all, the interaction with other blind people and the encouragement to have them also get involved with a number of sighted organizations. Because I don't like to see blind people just hang with that group. I want them to be out in the community. I want them to be active, volunteering, and that's what we're striving for at Conklin Davis.
Right. Kathy, you mentioned to me that you really were excited when we took over the Blind Babies program. How do you feel about that?
Well,
the need for it?
My goodness, children are born and they find out they have a blind baby. And these parents have no clue what to do. They have no idea, what does a baby do that can't see? And that's where we come in. We bring these parents and their babies here, and we teach them how to get that baby really magnifying their other senses other than sight. So we capitalize on touch, smell, and feel. And what a difference that makes just for these parents to know how to raise their children as they get older and older, month by month, year by year, so that they too are getting around and learning how to play and learn just like sighted children can.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's exciting. We have services that you mentioned to me about in the future that you would like to see. What are you excited about the future of our organization?
I'm just so excited about so much. We have just tremendous things to look forward to. We're going to start an incredible wellness program for blind and visually impaired people of all ages, so they can work out and they can engage in art activities, whether it's sculpting or painting. I can't wait for us to get our sensory garden going and our nature path, so they can go along this nature path and they can get a description of what they're feeling and smelling. Because being outside is so really, really important, so that blind people just don't sit home, whatever the age. We want them out and active and being in the sunshine and appreciating all the God-given things that the Lord gave us in nature. And that's what we're going to do.
Kathy, you are an inspiration to us and to all of our clients, because you haven't let any obstacles get in your path and really achieving success in everything that you put your hands to. So thank you for all you do for us.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. And it's been such a pleasure to put my professional skills in counseling along with how I can help the agency. It is just a joy to me, and I'm so thankful to be an integral part of Conklin Davis Center.
Thank you, Kathy.